On today's episode, I answer the age-old question, is university worth it, and what is the true cost of doing a university degree? Hi everyone, I am Ethan Rushock, and on today's episode I'll be going through whether I believe a university degree is worth it, my experiences of going to uni, who I think uni is for, and what the true cost of a university degree is. So, in Australia in particular, university is really heavily pushed through the schooling system, by people's parents, and by peer pressure through friends. So what I mean by this is you hear it all the time, someone goes to uni and you ask them, why are you going to uni? And it's because either, school made that sound like that was the only option for me to be successful in life. Two, it could be, all my friends are doing it and I just feel like that's the best option. And three, which is the real killer one, is that, my parents made me do it. So it's a really concerning trend that seems to be happening more and more, that people feel that real pressure to take on a university degree, which could be 4 or 5 years of their life, and also add this huge HECS debt, and it's in a career that they've got no interest in, or they've got no interest in studying in general, and they really struggle through those early 20s of their life, doing something they're not enjoying at all, and it's got no long end goal. Alright, so quickly on my history of studying, I studied 2 degrees at University of South Australia. So I did a Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Applied Finance. So these were to get myself into the career of being an accountant. So I was lucky enough I was working while I was studying these degrees, so I studied them externally. So because I was studying externally and working, I ended up doing this over a period of 5 years, with the last year split over 2 years to try and ease that workload / working life balance. So what did I learn from studying? I learned that studying a uni course is completely different to studying at high school. It's a lot more self-motivated. You don't get that support like you do in high school of a teacher, come on, have you submitted that assignment? Have you started a draft? Have you been working on the notes I've given you? Uni is a lot more self-guided, that you need to just self-motivate. So therefore, if this isn't the right course for you, then you're really going to struggle. So I wasn't the best student. I did leave things to the last minute, did all those typical things that they say don't do, but I also had the mindset that all I need to do is pass this degree. I don't need to get high distinctions or get 100 out of 100 like you aim for in high school. All I need to do is get that 50%, get that P, and as I say, P's get degrees. That was my focus, and I think that made it a lot easier for me to get through each subject. I've seen friends and family that try and really focus on getting those really good grades like they did in high school, but then they spend so much time on it that it becomes a real struggle for them, and then they fall behind in other subjects. So they're so focused on one particular subject, and they have to get the highest grades that they may miss out on another subject, and therefore struggle in that one. Or they may be able to manage that balance, but then they become really upset with other aspects of their life because uni is just consuming their entire life. So in regards to an accounting degree, did I find this useful? Unfortunately, the answer is not really. So a lot of the course was really broad concepts that they have their place, but there wasn't enough practical advice. So if I was to leave the uni and once I finished my degree and go straight into a graduate position, I think I would have really struggled with the actual concepts of what being an accountant was. So the uni degree does teach you some good fundamentals that I think were really important, but at times it focused too much on really high-end examples that just don't happen in the day-to-day world, especially when you're first beginning into the workforce. So while some of this would be great if you're working for a Fortune 500 company, if you're going to work for the local mum and dad store around the corner as an accountant, it's probably not going to be what you need to hit the career running. So would be my biggest issue with an accounting degree in particular, and from what I've heard about a lot of other degrees, a lot of degrees are similar, that they don't give you enough knowledge so that on day one, when you work into that workforce, you have the ability to at least feel like you're practical to the workforce. Obviously, you're not going to know everything on day one, but the uni degrees really need to be focused on giving you that ability to hit the ground running and feel like you're actually being helpful. And I don't feel like my accounting degrees did that. Now, so the cost of my course. This is the scary part of studying in Australia because you don't always see this up front. We're lucky enough we've got the HECS Help system where you can defer your course fees and you'll pay them back later through our tax system. but you're not actually really paying much attention to what the course is actually costing you. So I was lucky enough, I went through and finished my course, so at least I have something at the end of it. So the total cost of my course ended up being $41,725. Now, I'm lucky enough that, as I said, I didn't have to pay this up front, but that's a lot of money. So especially for people that start a course, drop out, and then I'll swap to another course, do a little bit of that, drop out again, and then they may eventually finish a degree. This can keep growing and growing and growing. So by the time I finished my course, then started earning enough to start paying back this HECS debt, it had risen to just over $43,000. So this is what I class as the true cost of the HECS course, is what your HECS debt is at the time you first start paying it off. Because while it doesn't attract interest as such, it does go up by inflation or CPI each year. So people get caught out and go, oh no, there's no interest to it, but they're not realizing it still is growing. It's only minimal, but it still is growing. So I think if you want to know the true cost of a uni course, don't look at what the actual course will cost you. Have a good idea of when will you start earning over that threshold to start paying it back, and what will the balance be then. So do I think the $43,000 was worth it? Well, for me, yes, purely because to get into a career as an accountant, you're going to need an accounting degree. While you potentially will be able to start a career in this industry without the degree, like I did while I was studying, if you really want to achieve a high ranking position or go out on your own, you're going to need that degree behind you. So when I look at any kind of job position that comes up, they're obviously going to just assume that you've got that accounting degree, even for an entry-level position. If you wanted to be a bookkeeper, you may be able to do a smaller course that's not a uni degree as such. You could do a TAFE course or a diploma somewhere. But if you want to be an actual accountant, I think you definitely need to do the degree. Now, would I do the degree if I was just wanting more knowledge in finance or personal finance? The answer is definitely not. I would definitely look more into free knowledge that's out there. So look onto YouTube as a starting point. There's plenty of free knowledge about personal finance out there. That's what this channel is trying to provide, that free knowledge that can just give you that beginner's level of knowledge. Look into books. So I've already done a review previously on The Barefoot Investor. This is a great spot if you're wanting to know more about personal finance. And then there's a lot of short courses. So you could go for a 1-year course in business or something that I think would give you the knowledge that you're aiming to seek if you're just wanting more knowledge about personal finance, rather than sit through a 3 or 4 year commerce or applied finance or accounting degree. So this is my opinion on uni in general, that I would only do a uni course if it was necessary for the career I was after. So if you want to be a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer where you know you need the degree to do the course, I'd highly recommend it. If you're looking for something else, such as you want to be a marketer or an artist, etc., what I would recommend doing as a beginning point is spending a few years trying to do some work in that field, because a lot of those fields you might not need a degree as such, and just seeing what free knowledge or smaller paid knowledge is out there, to seeing whether you like it first. Now eventually you may go and do a university degree if you feel like it's actually going to really benefit you in your career, but if you've already got that background knowledge before it, you never know what jobs you may be able to get. Now, especially someone that's looking to work for themselves, I don't think uni is a good idea. Uni doesn't approach you with that mindset of starting your own business. Instead, it more approaches you of building your way up through that ladder of a career progression. So I wouldn't recommend a uni degree to anyone that's just wanting to start their own business, for instance, that then might go, oh, maybe I should do a business degree. I think there's enough free knowledge out there for you to not do that. So that kind of brings into my second tip of there's a lot of on-the-job training that's going to be a lot more beneficial than your degree. So don't finish your degree and go into your first job and expect that you know more than the people that have been working there for 5 to 10 years. It's just not like that. So make sure you take on the knowledge of people that have already been in your industry for 10, 15, 20 years and combine that with your university knowledge. If you can combine that, you get the best of the theory from the uni degree as well as the practical knowledge from experience. So if you're choosing to study, my third tip would be really research it thoroughly as to what method you're going to use, whether you think on campus or external would be better for you, and really look into the electives when you get to that stage in your degree. That's something I regret doing. So I wanted to get a tax agent's license, And if I had have restructured my electives while I was in the uni degree, I would have not had to do some additional study that I ended up needing to do because I didn't realise there were certain course requirements I would need to meet to get that registration. So no matter what industry you're in, have a look into what postgrad registrations you might need and what elective subjects they might require you to have, because if you can combine them with your uni degree, it reduces the amount of study you may need to do. Overall, don't study just to please someone else. Study if it's right for you. That's my biggest advice I can give you, is don't listen to parents, friends, family on what they think you should do. You've got to do what's right for you. It's great to get opinions from others, but you've got to make that final decision. Do the research first and make sure that studying a degree at uni is really going to benefit your career, not just delay it by 4 years and add potentially $40,000 worth of costs. Thank you, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Before you leave this video, if it has provided you with any value, I'd love to see you hit that like button, drop a comment down below, or even better, hit that subscribe button. Thank you.